Okay, welcome back to Ask a Monk. Today's question comes from Kusala Wiro. Bande, as a layperson, how can we deal with excessive sexual desire without losing it for our wife or husband? No matter how much we love our partner, we still crave other people sexually on a physical level. It's a bit of an odd question for a monk. But I was thinking about it, and well, it's definitely an appropriate question from a meditative point of view, or the answer at least helps us to understand something about the nature of craving. This is really the problem with craving. One of the reasons why it became apparent to me that there's something wrong with the way we approach the world. There's something wrong with lust, with craving, because it doesn't. There's nothing in the mind that says only this. I'll only need this, and in fact, it's just the opposite. That we need more intense stimuli to bring the same amount of gratification. And this is, based on the way that the brain works. It's just a part of reality, and that's to do, from a Buddhist point of view, to do with karma. When you do anything, when you commit an act, it's not a stationary thing. It's not static, where you can keep performing the same act again and again and again and get the same results. Every act that we perform, when there's a volitional intention involved, leads you in a certain direction. So craving something, chasing after it, and working to attain it, and finally attaining it or obtaining it, leads you in that direction, the direction to want more and to develop the habit for craving, and so it becomes worse and worse. And there's no way to say that here you're going to draw limits and you're not going to want anything outside of this. This is the point, that you'll find yourself craving more and more and more and never getting enough. So what do you do? From a Buddhist point of view, you obviously try to give up all craving, all desire. The problem, of course, comes that this is unacceptable for most people. For most of us, there is still a craving in the mind. The way I would say it's possible, from a lay point of view, and obviously this is not the point of view that I have as a monk, but it's the same in the sense that you accept that you have certain cravings, and they're kind of a danger to you. They're something that has the potential to take your mind out of its peaceful, contented state. It's a fever of sorts. It's a sickness. Well, maybe not. You don't want to see it as a sickness. It's the Buddha said it's a fever. It intoxicates the mind, and so you can see this outlet that you have of sexual gratification with your wife or husband as being kind of an outlet. It's a way of giving in to the craving. So as a lay Buddhist, you're still trying to keep your mind free from this fever, this essential misunderstanding of the phenomena as being pleasant and desirable, and as getting the object of your desire is bringing true peace and happiness. But when you give in, you have this outlet. It's not going to send you to a bad place or take you down the wrong path if you give in and have sexual intercourse with your wife or girlfriend or partner. But another thing you can look at. So this is one way to approach this point in terms of not saying, okay, it's fine to have marital sex, so we're just going to go wild. That obviously doesn't work, because going wild It doesn't have boundaries. But when you're trying your best to be as clear-minded as possible, and then your mind becomes clouded by lust and desire, you give in, and you don't have to feel bad about it because you're married, because you're not hurting anyone, and you understand that you're human, that you give in to these desires. Then you go back and trying to stay as clear-minded as you can. If you have that point of view, then I think it's a way of answering your question. And from my point of view, it probably will work a lot better than trying to just make a wall and say within this wall anything goes, outside of this wall nothing goes. You try to limit yourself and giving in as is appropriate. I think that's easy to understand. But the second part is to understand why we might say something like lust is wrong. Maybe people are offended by this. They think of the love that they have as a husband and wife and for their partners as being a positive thing. And so I've often given talks about this as well, that there's a difference between love and attachment. And the love that you feel for your partner is actually just a smaller part of the love that we feel or should feel for all beings, and the love that we have for people for who they are, and wishing to help them, wishing to give peace, happiness, and freedom from suffering to them. But the attachment is something totally different. Attachment is wanting something from them, wishing for them to bring you gratification and pleasure. And you find that the more Buddhist the more advanced you become in Buddhist practice, in the meditation practice, the more you feel this love and the less you feel the attachment. And so if a husband or a wife becomes enlightened, the stories that they have, what happens is, they say, look, I still love you and I'll treat you as a brother or as a sister, but if you want to get married again, you're welcome, but I have no more lust or attachment towards you. But there's still a sense of love there. But it's just a much broader sort of love, and understanding that beings are all precious and sacred and worthy of our love and our appreciation and so on. And so allows you to be free from this fever, this addiction, the need for gratification, and more and more intense gratification, which eventually can lead to infidelity and so on. So those are two ways of looking at the problem that might give you a hint as to where to go next. The third option, of course, is to just become a monk and be done with it, but I think you're aware of that already, and if you're content as a layperson, power to you. Not everyone has to become a monk. Clearly, you can become enlightened as a layperson. You just have to try to avoid the temptation as best you can, and try to keep your mind as clear as possible. Don't feel guilty about these things as well. This is one last point, sorry. Guilt is not a helpful emotion. It's an unwholesome emotion from a Buddhist point of view. So it's something that is negative. It's causing more and more repression in your mind. It's actually making the problem worse. So when you feel guilty about these thoughts, it's kind of like denying them, not giving them the credit as not accepting them as real, that they really are there. It's denying their existence. It's not accepting their existence. And when you can come to accept and understand that, yes, these have arisen, and accept where they're coming from, why they're there, then you can start to work on overcoming them. So realizing that this is just a cause of your high state of degree of lust that you have in the mind, then you'll be able to work on it. And from that point of view, from just examining and working through and straightening out your mind in regards to this lust, and to the point where your mind is clearer, you're freer from this addiction, and you're able to control yourself, so that if and when the time comes, you have sexual intercourse with your partner, and and nothing else. So there's a monk take on it, and that's about as far as I go with these things. So thanks for the question.